In a world searching for a light in the dark, there's only one two-man team with the balls to take you by the hand and lead you towards the light. That one team is RantWorthy Podcast. Welcome back, everybody. It's another Sunday, September 17th, 2017. I am your host, Lee Powell, with my co-hosts, Ryan, hit the ball, stupid, Chamber.
What's going on?
And we are casting the pods from a secret bunker in the heartland of America, Cincinnati, Ohio. Or do people like O-H-I-O? I wonder what's better.
I don't know.
We'll figure it out. Quickly, if everybody has a need for a rash guard, make sure you hit up our sponsors, Fighter Philosophy. Go on Etsy, put in Fighter Philosophy, pick up a rash guard over there.
Got a lot of love at the tournament for those.
Yeah, as worn by gold medalist Ryan Chamber.
What up?
And you can also go to fighterphilosophy.com. I only said, hey, stupid, because before this, I was asking Ryan, because I was kind of poking and prodding for random information, and I was like, did you ever have a nickname when you were a kid? He said a couple normal ones, and I was like, nah, that's not good enough. And then he was like, well, stupid was one of them. And then I was like, who called you that? He's like, my dad.
For like 10 years.
Why did that come up? You said sports?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean,
or was it just in general?
It started out as a general thing and then just kind of was in every aspect of my life for a while.
The love and caring of a father.
There's nothing like a dad screaming from the dugout who says, hey, stupid, shift left.
That's so funny. Hey, stupid.
And then I had...
hit the fucking ball.
And then... So he was coaching with another guy that, and his kid and me grew up together, and they were kind of all the same deal. And his nickname, he had two of them. It was either Meathead or Dumbass. So on any occasion when we'd be like at the ball fields and stuff, you could hear, hey, stupid, and hey, dumbass, and both of us would look and just answer to it. So
it's so funny you bring that up, because now I think about it, this is totally for real. I remember my dad, this is dead serious, and I'm so sorry. My dad used to call me fuck mouth. It's so rude,
dude. You know what?
He like, come upstairs, fuck mouth, and I was like, God damn, that's so aggressive.
You know what the other one was? Is my dad used to call me X-Lax all the time too. And
what's wrong with parents? I had a conversation with my dad at one point. This is dead serious. I stopped him one day. I was terrified of my dad for a million reasons, but I remember he was cussing at me one day, calling me a bunch of shit. And it was the first time I grew some balls, and I was like 15 years old, and I was like, Dad, can I ask you something? And I like for real thought I was about to have a heart to heart with him, and I was like, I hear other kids' dads, and they're like, like really nice. And how come you don't talk to me like that? And I thought, oh man, I'm going to totally break my dad down and he's going to lighten up right now, right? And he's like, oh, you want me to call you rookie? Or hey, sport?
Oh,
and all he did was roast me for 30 minutes talking shit to me about how those are like pansy-ass dads and pansy-ass kids and that ain't us, so get the fuck over it. And I was like, God damn it.
Dude, the thing my dad used to do to me and I don't know if I've ever told him this, but I used to hate it so much. He used to I can't remember exactly. He would say, oh, the turkey peeped over the log, and he would grab the hair on the back of my head and like pull it and rip it up. And he'd do that to me all the time. He'd come behind me and grab just the dude, if you had your rat tail, it'd have been the worst time of your life. He would grab that and he would rip the back of my hair, and I'd be like, motherfucker, that shit hurt. And I used to hate that so much.
See, my dad had a ponytail at one point, so I think he was mildly sensitive to pulling on my rat tail.
Yeah, didn't want to touch it.
He knew that was painful. I remember there was a time that I had detention a billion times in a row when I was in middle school, and my dad, we were in his Camaro back in the day, so my dad has a ponytail, wearing like jean jackets, and he has a big Camaro, right? He's that guy, like the 80s, 90s guy, and he picked me up from school. And I remember it was like the fucking 14th day in a row I had detention or something like that. And some guy came down into the school and cut my dad off. And he was like, watch it, ponytail. And man, my dad beat him up in the parking lot.
Oh my God.
It was awesome. I was like, oh my God, my dad's actually scary. For real.
I think by detention, you mean extra religion class during recess in the principal's office, right?
Is that what you would get?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Our detention was like, you had to stay after school for like an hour or some shit like that. because we had too many people in our school, so they had vans. Are you hip to vans at all? Like they would have little van things outside, and they would make a little plank that goes up to it, and the van you cut it in half, and there's a classroom on the right side and a classroom on the left side. It would be like an outside. It was almost became a separate building.
What?
Yeah, they were
Okay, slow down.
Okay.
All right. To break this down again for
Okay.
me. So there's classrooms
Yeah.
outside
Yep.
in a van.
It's not a van. I was
going to say, that sounds like the creepiest
Yeah,
thing
no.
I've ever... Here, kid, come out to
no.
the van out here.
Yeah, there was a guy that was missing teeth, and he would hold out lollipops, and every day someone would get in the van.
Is it sad? That's exactly where my mind went. I was like, Lee is walking out to a van in the middle of the day.
And he would teach us sex ed in the van, and no, it was cool. No, they were kind of like trailers in a way, and they weren't even trailers. Even that is a bad depiction of what it is.
Like
almost like construction crews.
That's what I was gonna say, like a construction office.
Yeah, they called them vans. Like for us, I don't know why they would call them that, but they like literally the classroom was called Van 1, Van 2, Van 3, Van 4.
I gotta tell you, that's weird as fuck. I was in a Catholic school. That's weird as fuck.
Is it really?
That's fucking weird.
Oh, I didn't even know. I really did have sex ed in one of those though.
That
for
is
real.
fucking...
And I remember exactly which van it was because that's the day I learned everything.
That's fucking weird.
Yeah. Where the fuck were we going?
We're talking about detention.
Yeah. So
your dad beat somebody up in the parking lot.
Well, that's where they had detention though. They had them out in the vans.
Okay.
So I had detention in my sex ed class, which for an hour I'm just staring at like big charts of labias and ball sacks, and I mean it wasn't that bad. I mean, to get more educated on that, worth it.
When I was
you're welcome to my wife. You know what I mean? Just kidding.
When I was if there wasn't sports season in high school, if I got detention, I would skip it on purpose and take an after school because I didn't want to miss lunch.
Oof.
Yeah.
Can't miss lunch.
Our detentions were like 20 minutes, and lunch was only, I think, 35 minutes. So by the time you got down there, it was hard to get through the line and get something to eat. So I would skip and be like, well, our after schools are only 30 minutes. So I would skip and take the after school so that I can get...
I feel like lunch at our place, because we had a lot of people, had to been crazier than yours, right? Lunch was probably just normal and eating and sort of hanging out, right?
Yeah.
Because in a school, I mean, I didn't even go to the biggest school in the world, but every class probably had like 400 people or so.
So I graduated with like 120 kids in my class.
Okay. There was like 400 in mine, and there's, 4 grades or so.
Yeah.
And so there's a good amount of people. So lunch was pretty packed, and it was a madhouse in that place. So if you're seeing a million people from a grade below you, a grade above you. So there's friends everywhere. There's fights all the time. Lunch for us was like the shit.
Yeah, you don't want to miss that.
You don't want to miss lunch because there's no telling what's going to happen. I remember there was a time where a dude was talking shit to some girl all damn day, and she went in that lunchroom and ate her food, and then walked up to him, was like, remember that shit you said about me earlier? And then started beating him with a tray.
What the fuck?
I'm dead serious. And she was like, I don't want to say she was like meek. She wasn't that meek. She was sort of quiet, but you could tell she had like that undertone of crazy about her. And this guy must have just been harassing her every day, all day, and she finally snapped. And if you were a person who brought your own lunch, you got a way bigger tray. Like, if you ate lunch there, they'd give you the sectioned off tray with like the big pizza and then the 3 sides or the 2 sides kind of thing.
Yeah.
That tray was pretty little. But if you brought in your own lunch, I swear you got this like 3 foot by 2 foot tray. I don't know. They just think that you're bringing in a full fucking
They don't want to divide it out for you.
Yeah, it's gigantic too. Like you can fit. It was the size of a fucking table. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
And that's what she got. I don't know if she needed it that day. I don't know if she brought in an entire rotisserie chicken or not and needed that entire thing. But she had that huge tray, and she started just winging that son of a bitch. Like she was in the WWF or some shit. Like it was a fucking tables, ladders, and chairs match. And she started just smacking him in the fucking head with it. And I would have hated to have detention that day.
Yeah.
Can you imagine missing that?
That would be awful.
She beat the shit out of that dude with a tray. After that, they went to styrofoam trays.
What's your like fondest memory of high school?
Fondest memory of high school?
Yeah.
Oh, God. I don't know.
Let me tell you mine.
That's a tough one.
Yeah. So, dude,
I had a lot of cool small shit.
So when I was a senior, and this just goes to show why I didn't progress more in school, because they set me up for failure in high school right away. So in 7th period in high school, because like it was so funny because we like skateboarded and were into punk rock and things like that. And there was a very, very small group of us who liked that at the school.
Us too.
But we were always super respectful. And in class, at the school that I went to, if you went into class and you didn't disturb the classroom, you typically could just get away with whatever. Like my French class, my entire junior year, I slept every single day and some days would go in the back of the class and lay on the floor and go to sleep. I would walk in, I'd say, Miss Brooks, I just want to let you know today, I didn't sleep very much last night. I'm going to go sleep on the floor on the back. If you need me, did you just get that in your eye?
I took a drink of coffee and it went down so fast that it splashed up through the hole and went directly in my fucking eye. Apologies.
That's why we need video.
Oh my God. I have coffee in my fucking eye right now. I have a shot of espresso in my eye. Continue.
That's amazing.
Sorry. You didn't get much sleep. I'm going to lay back here.
Yeah, I would literally explain to her, like, I'm not going to disturb the class. You do what you got to do. I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to sleep. I got to be in that class. I used to do that all the time. So what we would do is we would just be super respectful and not disturb the class and kind of just do our own thing. And they just gave us good grades. But what would happen was, so me, Ben, and then another one of our buddies, we all had study hall 7th period my senior year. Well, 7th period, they always selected somebody to go out and do recycling for the classrooms. Terrible mistake on their part. So we got selected because we knew we like grew up with one of the kids that was the study halls. She was the mom of one of those kids. And so she selected, there's only supposed to be 2 of us, but she would let us, all 3 of us, roam the halls for the entire 7th period every single day. So we would pick up these trash cans, and then we would go to the classrooms, knock on the door, and say, hey, do you have anything to recycle? And then we would take off, and we would just roam the halls for an hour at the end of the day, and we were allowed to go outside because we were recycling. And so we had like a routine. Like we would recycle the bottom. We told the classroom, we were like, all right, we'll recycle the entire bottom half of the school on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then we'll do the top half on Tuesday, Thursday. Well, we really didn't do that. We just fucked off. We would actually recycle like 2 days a week, and the rest of it, we just roamed the halls. We would go up to the I think science class up there. The old teacher was one of the old baseball coaches, so we would go up there and he would let us play with like dead animals and stuff like that.
Of course.
Like the
standard.
Yeah. I remember he would like take the one day he comes out, you guys want to see these fish up here? He pulls this fish out that's already been dissected, and as he pulls it up, he holds it up by his head, and this guy is like super extra, like really loud and just out of control. And as he pulls it up, the intestines fall out of the fish and hit the floor. And we were like, we're good. We'll move on.
Jesus.
And he used to give us of all time. But then like they let us go outside, so we would prop the door open and just wander around outside and we had our phones on us and would just walk back inside 5 minutes before class ended, and that's what we did.
Freedom while in school is definitely some of the best times.
And there were times when I'd be like, I can't believe they trust us to do this. I would go to my car, we would sit and listen to music and just chill, and then come back. And I was like, I can't believe anyone trusts us to do this at all.
It's funny because you saying that reminds me of what my favorite time probably was in school. And I should give the caveat of my school experience wasn't bad, like at all. Because when you're in like the hardcore scene and you're in a BMX, I had so much life going on outside of school that school was literally not my primary thing, if that makes sense.
It also takes away from like the high school experience where
big time.
When you go to a show and you have some giant guy who punches you in the face, and I weighed like 110 pounds, and you realize you're not made of glass, and then you go back to your high school and you're like, I'm not scared of anyone here. Right. I put myself in worse situations on purpose all the time.
And BMX. It's like I was in BMX and martial arts. So I was getting challenged outside of school. I'm training outside of school.
Yeah, we know now that you use your bike as a weapon.
Yeah, so I can use my bike as a weapon. I'm around a bunch of older dudes all the time that are like drunk somewhere. You're around all these different people outside of school. I had too much life outside of school to where school wasn't my primary life thing.
Yeah.
You know, usually kids don't have shit going on, so school was everything.
Yeah.
Someone doesn't like them in school and it ruins their entire fucking life because they have nothing else going on. I had way more going on outside of life and in my life to where school really didn't mean shit to me. So I never really had a hard time. I really at all. But to me, my favorite time though, and a lot of people probably don't even know this about me, but I went to vocational school. So I did electromechanical engineering for 2 years of my high school. So I was far enough ahead to where I could go to vocational school, and you do it for 2 years at our school. So all of junior and all of senior year, I spent half my day in electromechanical engineering. So I was around the same people all day, every, you know, half a day for the entire school year for 2 years straight. So I pretty much wasn't in school like everybody else.
Yeah.
We had breaks. Like, you know what I mean?
Like you're working a regular job almost.
Yeah, I mean, that's really what it was. Like, you be in class for a certain amount of time, and then we got breaks. We go outside, and this is how old school it was. There was no cell phones and no internet and that kind of shit. We would go outside, and we would hacky sack.
Dude, we got into that for a while.
We would hacky sack, and then we had a teacher that was a complete degenerate. Though he did teach us some cool shit, this guy was a complete degenerate. We would play Halo and video games every single day, and he used to say to us, if they ever come in here and check, because we were in like an odd place in the school where you had to go through these doors that went into the vocational school, and that would go into like the business area.
Yeah.
I think they did like finance and business and shit. And then they had a door on the inside of theirs that led to a little hallway that then led to our room. So there was no way to get to our room without going through several other doors. So we were kind of tucked away. People never really visited us ever. And he used to tell us, if anybody ever comes in here and you guys are playing video games, tell them it's team building. And we're like, okay. So we spent so much time playing video games, just taking electronic shit and just fucking with it. We would pull out circuit boards and be like, and just try to figure shit out, trying to make microwaves work and how to make some random pneumatic system work. And
so,
shit.
A question: as a leader now and a supervisor for as long as you've been, how weird is it that a teacher would trust a bunch of teenagers to say, if anybody ever comes in here, just tell them it's team building?
Yeah.
Dude.
I couldn't believe it.
The amount of trust that has to be in that guy is out of control.
And I don't know, and he may have been smart about it, because when I look at everybody that was in that class, everybody is fairly successful. Dead serious. I still know a lot of people that were in that class. There wasn't many of us. I mean, like the underclassmen to us, there was not that many people in there. We were like the last larger group, and even our group was only maybe 20 people.
Yeah, so you get to know everybody really quick.
You know everybody really well, and when I see all those people nowadays, everybody is like some upper something somewhere, almost everybody. And so it was weird though, because we were all pretty smart, but we're kids, so we still liked to fuck off.
Yeah.
But he did kind of sort of gear us in the right direction on being inquisitive and wanting to learn things and shit like that. So he was sort of good, sort of a little too trusting and let us fuck off too much. You know what I mean? But those were definitely my most fond memories, because you spend so much time with people that you really get to know them. This wasn't like gym class or, you know, math or some shit. This was like you were around people for a really long time. We went on trips together. We did robotic competitions together. I was in robotics competitions.
Dude, that's so tight. Do we do like the BattleBot stuff?
Dead serious, yeah.
Dude, that's amazing.
Exact.
I thought that was the coolest thing when I was a kid. When that came out, I was like, this is my favorite show.
Yeah, that we had to build robots every year for competitions, and they had to, like, every year would have a different objective of some sort. So I remember specifically our junior year, I think, ours was you had to make a robot that was able to move barrels, and there was like a ramp, and you had to be able to move it up onto the ramp and keep it on the middle of the ramp. But other people could ram it off, but you also had to be able to drag it up there and put it in place, kind of thing. So your robot had to have a couple different objectives.
That's interesting.
What I mean? And some people had it to where you would scoop under it and it would launch it. So they would be like going up to the top and just be launching your fucking barrels off there.
That's awesome.
And then like put theirs down, kind of. It was really, really fun. And I was the president of VICA. So VICA is like, it stands for vocational something school, but it was vocational shit. So out of all those people, somehow I became VICA president.
Interesting.
Yeah. So out of the vocational school, I was like the representative for us that would like talk and sell people on why we are fucking smart and
Yeah.
fucking awesome. It was really cool. I was going to say earlier when you were talking about the baseball, when you were saying when you were a kid and you played baseball, the first thing I thought of was like Chris Sabo. I was like, was Chris Sabo your hero?
100%.
Because anybody who doesn't know who Chris Sabo is, he's like a famous guy in Cincinnati for being like a nerdy looking baseball player who was actually kind of jacked. Did you know that about him?
Yeah, he's a big guy.
He wore like the shittiest glasses I've ever seen in my entire life.
Rec specs.
Is that what they're called?
Called rec specs. He had a flat top,
Yeah.
and he would wear rec specs. And for any kid who wore glasses, especially in Cincinnati in the 90s, it was like the coolest thing ever because it was different.
I remember having a card of him, and I saw his glasses, and I was like, look at this fucking dork.
Yeah.
But the way he held his bat, he like had his arms facing forward, and he was fucking, I was like, God damn, for a nerd, he's like the most jacked nerd I've ever seen in my life.
I had rec specs, I think, the first 2 years I played football. And then I had rec specs the first 2 years I played football, and then from there I finally got contacts, but I looked like that for a while.
Rec specs.
Yes, that's what I had.
Who the fuck wears those?
You should have worn those because you have been ignoring the fact that you need glasses for your entire life. So
I don't even know why I do that.
dude, it is the silliest thing. If there's
I can't see.
There are two things in life I'd give you shit about. It was the Star Wars thing until you started watching that.
Yeah.
And I have bitched at you about glasses ever since I've known you. And you do still do it all the time where you'll come into the gym and you'd be like, I have the worst headache. And I'd be like, well, if you were wearing glasses, you wouldn't have a headache right now.
That's a good point.
Because you're squinting 100% of the time.
Most of the time, I deal with not having glasses just like this. I'm driving, I look up at something, it's super fuzzy, and I'm like, man, fuck it.
Dude, when I remember as a kid, that was probably the like most eye-opening moment. It changed my entire life. When I went to get glasses, my mom was driving me home, and we were coming. It was like country roads that we were driving. I had my glasses on, and I was looking around, and I could see all of the individual leaves on the trees. And I remember thinking, like, this is what normal people see. I can't believe I went this many years of my life without being able to see anything.
God, now I don't want to do that, though. I'll get glasses, and I'll see somebody at my work, and I'll be like, ugh.
Do you think you could wear contacts?
No.
No?
It's too much upkeep. The whole thing just seems like too much.
Dude, I don't know how... Here's the other thing, though. I don't know why you wouldn't just get LASIK. It's not that expensive anymore.
That I would. No, I think I've always kind of planned in the back of my mind that I would do LASIK eventually, but I feel like 10 years ago or so, it was like a new thing.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for technology to be like, oh, it's really good now. Because I remember 10 years ago, they were still doing like the eye slice shit. Yeah. And they don't do that anymore.
No.
So, and that's kind of my thing.
It's really not very invasive anymore at all.
Even when I was a kid, I kind of thought that way, though. I was like, even as a teenager, I was like, I'm not going to get glasses. One day, they'll figure out a way to fix your eyes that won't be all crazy, and I'll wait for that. And then I remember seeing the thing where they would cut like the lens thing around your cornea, and they'd be like, boom, now you can see. And I was like, that just looks fucking sketchy. And they were talking about like a 50% fallout or some shit. I was like, I ain't into that. And even now, whenever I hear, I'm 31, I hear people talking about LASIK, and I always kind of get in the conversation. I'm like, so how'd that go? Did it work out good? Pretty easy? Lasers? Pain-free? How long until it was good? Because I'm kind of checking. I'm like, are we there yet? Is it time for me to get this shit?
And I can tell you, LASIK now is so simple that there are people who have worked part-time and don't make that much money at my work who get it, and it's very affordable.
Yeah, mine too. Did you see this week locally that there was a bomb threat at a school?
No.
You didn't see this?
No.
Dead serious. Okay, so the only reason I know about it is because of someone I know had told me about it, because their kid was at the school that got the bomb threat, and they had someone called in a bomb threat. They had to do a sweep through the entire fucking place, all this kind of shit, and people, for some reason, are so dumb.
Do they go on lockdown at schools for that, or do they get them out?
I think it was at night, which shows you how much this must happen.
Yeah.
Because I was like, shit, your kids, how many days are they going to have to miss? He goes, no school got missed. They went through there, swept it, looked good, back to school the next day. I was like, God damn, how much has this happened to where you just knock it out that fast? So yeah, they said no time missed whatsoever. And it ended up, it was a fucking inside job.
What the fuck?
It was like a person who worked there did it. How bad?
Oh, and it wasn't even a student.
No,
it was an employee.
It was an employee.
Oh, my God.
How bad do you need a day off?
Dude, that is ridiculous.
It's so ridiculous. And I'm almost positive it was a girl.
It
was a girl. She's like, it's fall. It's time to get a pumpkin latte frappuccino.
It's hilarious because that 100% is something that a guy would do.
Yeah, I couldn't
Like,
believe it.
immediately when I think about bomb threat, I'm like, yeah, some guy called it
Yeah.
out.
And then everything was surprising. It was like, girl, son of a bitch, that worked there. What the fuck? Like, this keeps getting deeper and deeper. This is so fucking wild.
It's hilarious that you said the pumpkin spice latte thing because I went to, so I had a free drink and I have this new routine where whenever I have a free drink from Starbucks, I go get a nitro cold brew. And it's only in a couple.
Because they're so fucking expensive.
What? Yeah, and it's only in a couple locations, So I had to drive.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's like a test market in this area still.
Oh, okay.
So I go to the one on Route 4 that's right by Queen City Comics, and I stop in there, and they've got their pumpkin spice latte banners up out of control all over the place. And did you see how like fancy they're getting with it now? And it's hilarious because they've embraced like the hashtag mentality to where they literally don't even call it a pumpkin spice latte. It's PSL on all their
What?
signage. It says PSL. It's so funny.
Is it me or is pumpkin the white girl bat signal?
Dude, it's so
I
is.
mean, if you say this is pumpkin, it would just hordes and buses of white girls just show up. Just light hair, blonde girls show up, and they're just like, oh my God, and then selfies, and that culture.
I think
the stereotypical girl, you can see her in your mind. I see who it is. They love the pumpkin. Once it comes out, my wife is one of them.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden it's September 1st or it's right around Labor Day and she becomes a pumpkin hound. And it's
the most basic bitch of all.
Oh my God. And the fucking, like, we have coffee in our house, obviously, and she gives creamers and all this bullshit. And I use like a splash of this, a splash of that type thing. And then the other day I went down into the fridge and I just happened to grab one. I put it in there and all of a sudden I taste this bullshit pumpkin. It tastes like dog shit. There's nothing natural about that fucking taste.
No.
I mean, nothing. It is so gross. It is like synthetic. It's like somebody put cologne in my coffee.
Oh my God, that's a perfect description.
I'm like, this is so gross. What the fuck is this?
Dude,
I look at the thing and it says like pumpkin something or other. I'm like, God damn it. My life is ruined for the next 2 months.
They start getting ready for it in like August. Dude, I
hate it.
I dated a girl in the past who in like August would start calling Starbucks to say, when are you getting your pumpkin spice syrup in? And like, because some of them get it faster than others, I guess. I don't know how if it's like an order. And then it's like, you'll see it. One of them locally gets it and you'll see it go up on Facebook. Just a heads up, all you white girls out there. So-and-so Starbucks has pumpkin spice syrup in, and it's like they come in droves trying to get there. Dude, it is crazy. But you know what's funny, though, when you talk about pumpkin, as much as we don't get into the pumpkin stuff, one of the best things ever when I was living here was during the fall time.
Pumpkin pie at Frisch's?
Pumpkin pie at Frisch's.
I was just getting ready to rat myself out. I was going to say I don't like pumpkin. Yeah, flavoring and all that kind of bullshit, that's one thing. But pumpkin pie, I will, for the next 2 months, eat Frisch's pumpkin pie every single week.
With extra whipped cream. Out of control.
Just know that I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Health be damned. I don't give a shit. If it takes years off my life, so be it.
Dude, I am 100% out of health mode right now. I'll be eating some pumpkin pie as well.
I say that because you know what happened. The other day, we were at the gym on Tuesday. I got done with it. I took the long way home, all the way down that long-ass road so that I could pass a Frisch's. I pull up, and she's like, how can I take your order? I go, so is pumpkin pie back yet? No, it won't be back till the 20th. And I start pulling away going, because that's all I wanted. I guess you probably thought, oh yeah, we're going to get a taser for Ryan. I just hope everyone knows that.
You got to stop making me laugh. I just think about you pulling out the drive-thru, and the woman in the drive-thru's got to be like, okay.
She's thinking like, no, we don't have that until the 20th.
What else can I get you?
Would you like a burger? No, this is the only reason I'm here. I was like, and I just started driving. That was it. And it was funny because I went around by the window and she like looked at the window just to see what I looked like. She probably thought I was going to be in a pickup truck like missing teeth and shit like that. Like, hey, you got the pumpkin pie. I could, man, seriously, it's just crazy how the pumpkin takes over, though. We would have more things to talk about with our week, but we both have such busy weeks and such shitty lives that we have nothing else going on. We have no time for fucking anything. So
no fun ever.
So let's answer some questions.
Let's do it. At least we have Bieber in our lives.
What do you mean? Oh, when you nod your head yes, but you wanna say no. What do you mean? When you don't want me to go, but you tell me to go. What do you mean?
Oh my god, I love that song. Wait, oh yeah, let's answer questions.
All
Can we just keep
right.
playing that?
I would love to just play that.
Love that song.
All right, so got some goodies this week.
Let's get educational. Oh, wait. Let's first address that. So Ryan coughing, I told him that because we got mail about this. People saying like, yeah, I could hear him cough every single time. And I was like, son of a bitch. And then I told Ryan today, I'm going to get a taser and we're going to make it to where every time he coughs, I'm going to tase him.
I'm into it.
I'm going to tase him live.
I'm into it.
As we're here, every time Ryan coughs, he's got to take a tase.
So if you have a taser...
Yeah, I prefer to not have to invest in one. That'd be great. But if you have a nice little taser, one of those like...
I can promise you if I'm getting tased every time I cough, it will probably end quickly.
We're going to teach him.
Yeah.
Either Ryan's going to stop coughing or he's going to die.
My heart is going to stop.
Or his heart's going to stop. Something's going to stop, goddammit.
So if you have a taser, hit us up and we will utilize that the next show.
Preferably something that could reach him. So maybe it's something like a cattle prod because those are longer.
Oh, dude.
Though they're much stronger.
Oh, my God. Remember in WCW for a while when the
yeah,
NWO was carrying around that stick?
They were cattle prodding people.
Dude.
Oh, my gosh. This brings up another thing. My dad cattle prodded me.
What?
I swear on my life, my dad cattle prodded me once. I should clarify. So there was a time, we had a big stainless steel sink in our house, right? And I was doing the dishes once, and I had my hand on the side of it, and he goes like, hey, keep your hand there. I was like, okay. And then he puts it on like the back of the sink, and then cattle prods it, and it shocked the shit out of me.
Oh my God.
I thought it stopped my heart. And you know that he felt bad? Look. You know that he felt bad because after that he like took me out for ice cream.
Oh, it's like,
that's when you know it's bad.
He enjoyed himself so much. He's like, all right, I probably
He's
make
like,
up for it.
shit. I might have accidentally just scarred him for life. I should go buy him ice cream.
Every time you hear that clicking noise, you just freak out.
Damn it, Dad.
All right. Question number 1. Why do dogs eat grass?
I have no idea.
Okay. So this is actually pretty cool. And after reading on this, I thought about how Murphy does this all the time. And he almost always, it has to do with him eating something beforehand or something like that. So basically, when dogs go to eat grass, it's a natural remedy for a gassy or upset stomach for them. And it helps just basically put some more into their stomach. And it puts some like fiber in there as well. And so it either helps them pass that along their system or they throw up a lot of times just to help get it out. So it's pretty cool. It's kind of a natural remedy for them to deal with an upset stomach since, they don't have they can't tell us about when they're feeling bad. So they eat some grass and it just goes to show how smart dogs are with that.
This, I would love to let this pass. This is bullshit.
Why you say that?
Dogs are the same dog. My dog eats shit.
Well,
my dog. We're talking about dogs being so smart. Their stomachs get all fucked up, and they're just so intelligent. They eat grass to make. No, you want to know why they eat grass? Because it's underneath the shit. These are the same things that, where they put their hands on the ground and they drag their ass across to scratch their asshole on your carpet.
Yeah,
that's the same intelligent animals we're talking about. Dogs are not fucking geniuses. They're idiots. They're eating grass because poop is all over it.
I mean, I can't really argue with that, but
God, dogs are so stupid.
I love them.
I love my dog.
Yeah, I love her.
She's great.
Just don't try and kiss me after you have shit mouth.
Yeah, she's wonderful.
Or if you do it discreetly.
Isn't that weird that they eat so much shit, but their breath doesn't necessarily smell like shit?
Dude, Murphy has legitimately eaten cat litter before. like a lot.
That's
Like a lot of it. Mm-hmm. It was like a dessert for him.
we can't love that dog anymore.
He's like, oh, here's a meat tray for you here.
Okay, well,
All right, question number 2.
how was this a question?
Some of the ways that these questions are worded are my favorite, like, part of this whole thing. Why you always lying?
As soon as I saw that, I asked you if you knew the video that I was going to tell you to pull for that, and you didn't know right away. And I was like, oh, do I have a treat for you? How many people are lying in the world to where Google, one of the top questions are, why are you always lying?
Why you always lying?
Or is this video just coming back?
This might be it.
That might be
Make
it. If you guys are not hip to this, please do yourself, because the video is just as good as the song.
Yeah.
It is beautiful. But the video is called Why You Always Lying, and goddamn, it's good.
Yo!
I've watched it so many times.
You legit know almost every word of this.
Oh, yeah. It's one of my favorite videos ever.
Well, you won't believe the week I just had. Listen, I copped the all white Margielas. I got a foreign, and she ain't born. You feel me? It's a BMW, by the way. Listen, she got big titties. She got a big ass. You feel me? Yo, I can't wait for you to meet this girl. This is
I love his face.
best week of the summer.
I wonder if he know that I know he's lying right now. Oh, you got the new Margellas? That's what's up. That's what's up. I see you. That's your BMW? That's nice.
That's
your girl?
nice.
Golly. Okay, I see you. But I just want to
This motherfucker watched every...
You ready? Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
Every 90s video.
Dude, Brian McKnight,
Stop fucking lying.
Tyrese, Usher, he's watching all these videos, doing research.
So much. You're making it hard for me. Every time you tell me something, I figure that you're lying. Ooh, it's almost like you're faking. Oh yeah, yeah, I know you're lying, but you sound excited, and you know that I know that you're lying. Oh girl.
Cue the rain. I got you. The rain, yeah. Criminal. A little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah.
I'ma keep on lying to you until you think it's the truth. Yeah. Now, girl, I know you fibbing. Ooh, you know you can't help it. You know what I wanna know.
Lee is lip syncing every word to this right now.
Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop fucking lying.
I love that dance.
Yeah.
Always lying to me. Too much. Lying so much.
It's hard for me to say, all right, let's move on.
You're just so connected to it.
So good.
Okay. Why you always lying? Oh my God. Stop
I love the out of control shirt flips that he's doing.
to me. And his phone's lying so much.
All right.
You make
Pause. Hold on. All right, I got to rewind for just a second.
Can we point out the fact that he's wearing express underwear? Oh, the best part
That's a
is coming up.
toilet.
What?
That's a toilet in the fucking alley.
Of course.
Everything else is completely
He's sitting on it at
clean.
one point.
There's just a toilet there.
It's a prop. I love that the guy is wearing express underwear though. At least his underwear game is on point. I wear express underwear too.
I wish I could afford that. All right, let's move on.
God, if you get a chance to watch that video, because anytime someone lies to me now though, I swear I think in GIFs. So when someone's telling me something that I'm like, oh, you're full of shit, because they'll tell me about some fight they got in over a weekend or something that they did that's so fucking unbelievable. In my mind, I always am like, why the fuck you lying? Why you always... I start singing it in my mind every single time.
Dude, when I sent you that was the question that stuck out to you the most.
Yeah, I know, because that video, I watch it all the time.
Okay, so let's move on to the next question. Who killed Tupac?
I feel like it was always like Suge Knight oriented, right? I mean, I could have swore that was always a thing. Even though he was in the car, it was supposed to be like a hit that maybe, because Tupac was supposed to be trying to split from Death Row, so then he was going to have him killed for like betraying him or some shit. I never really got the full thing on that. Actually, now I think about it, Tupac isn't even dead. Do you remember how many fucking songs came out
Same thing
after?
Same thing with Biggie. He's put out more songs after.
No,
the fact.
Tupac's was so much
Really?
worse.
More?
Oh, it was fucking like 4 albums. I mean, there was several albums.
Here's another lost mixtape that we found.
Over and over. Remember Dave Chappelle made fun of that at one point.
So there was a documentary that came out on him, and basically from several sources now they have concluded that there are some signed affidavits that have known for many years that Reggie White Jr. and his ex-wife Sharitha were behind the murder of Tupac and attempted murder of Knight. So that is what is in the official affidavit for the documentary. So
Also, it's saying right there, it said that Knight might have been the target of the murder, but he just got caught in the middle.
yeah,
Oh, shit.
caught in the crossfire.
Damn, that's fucked up. That whole time was horrible. We lost 2 of the best. Hey, side note though, Biggie's better than Tupac.
Oh,
Let's be serious.
100% agree.
You know, people celebrate Tupac like he was bigger and better. It couldn't be any further apart. And they're not even in the same fucking realm. I can't believe that when people talk about hip hop, like who's 1 and number 2, they always will be like, well, you know, Biggie and Tupac. And then I'm like, really? If he didn't die, his catalog of music is not remotely close to Biggie's.
I think it has more to do with his image too. Like
Yeah, for sure.
Biggie put out better music, but Tupac had the
So
the
brash.
style and was
Yeah.
good looking
Right.
and was in shape and
sure.
did movies. So
And he's got a Thug Life tattoo
yeah,
on his stomach. I mean, it doesn't get much harder than that.
All right, who are the Avengers?
Who are the Avengers? You're asking me that, right?
Yes.
Okay, fuck. I don't know. I feel like the Avengers are Iron Man, Captain America, right? Okay, Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, right? Hawkeye, Hulk. Wait, yeah, and then the girl. Yeah, that's everybody. What?
Well, related to the movies, yes, that's probably the most.
Oh, Black Widow. Yeah, that's the girl.
Probably the most.
That nerd Hawkeye.
Probably
Right.
the most. That's probably the most famous team. It's because of the movies, but originally it was Ant-Man, who later became Giant Man, and then the Hulk, Iron Man, Thor, and the Wasp.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So
So you're saying that my understanding of the Avengers is that of a 5-year-old who only watches the movies.
yeah, I mean, and then Captain America.
Understood.
Captain America is discovered by the Avengers, trapped in ice. Like that's literally where he comes from. So how he becomes a part of it.
I never gave a fuck about the Avengers until the movie came out because fuck Marvel. Next.
Well, I have to.
Speaking
disagree.
of space battles,
All right. So this has been in the news because there is a satellite that is getting ready to that has been taking pictures. It's getting ready to crash into Saturn, and I guess that has just sparked people's interest in the planet in general. So, what are Saturn's rings made of?
all the people that Thor and Iron Man blow up, right?
Totally, yeah. That's exactly
Thanos shit.
There you go. So the rings are made up of dust, rock, and ice, and basically just the different things that have impacted Saturn's moons. And actually, what's interesting about this is, so Saturn has moons that are in this called Shepherd's moons, and that's what actually creates the rings itself. So that's why you have kind of like this space in between the planet and the rings itself, is those Shepherd's moons are what keep the circular motion on it.
So it's just always anything that comes within a certain range, it's just fucking scooping it up.
Yeah, it's basically just stuck in that little ring around the
It's
planet.
like a little space hoarder.
It is a little space hoarder. Yeah.
It's like the one creep you have on your block that you get him within arm's length of anything was ever mildly interesting. He has to have it. Everyone knows that one hoarder.
Yeah, I've got all my Pokemon cards from back in the day.
Exactly. No, but I need Times magazines from 1997.
It's hitting every flea market ever. It's like that guy at the flea market who thinks everything he owns is valuable.
Saturn is the space hoarder.
It is. There
Makes
you go.
sense.
All right. Who won Miss America 2017?
Who the fuck pays attention to who wins that shit?
I had to Google it. I mean, I would be honest.
Who won Miss America 2017?
She's from Arkansas. Her name is Savannah or Savvy
Oh, okay.
Shields. and she was crowned Miss America 2017 by Miss America 2016 Betty Cantrell.
Oh, getting ushered in by the other people.
In case you were wondering,
who gives a fuck about? I can't believe that Miss America is still a thing. I mean, it's like utterly surprising to me.
Let me just give you the answer that was the winning answer here.
Okay.
That really, I mean, I think it'll really change your mind.
Okay.
When you hear how intelligent Miss America really is. She's a great representative of women in general for America.
So she's pushing the standard.
Yeah.
I get it.
Okay. Recent polls have shown a fifth of Americans can't locate the U.S. on a world map. Why do you think this is?
I personally believe that U.S. Americans are unable to do so because some people out there in our nation don't have maps, and I believe that our education, like such as in South Africa and the Iraq, everywhere like such as, and I believe that they should, our education over here in the U.S. should help the U.S. Or should help South Africa and should help the Iraq and the Asian countries, so we will be able to build up our future for our children.
Thank you very much, South Carolina.
How did Mario Lopez keep it together while she was answering that? You could almost see him start cracking.
Yeah, the
Such
United
as?
States countries of Iraq and South Africa and Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And Asians. At one point she says that. She goes, and Asians. Yeah, those.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Mario Lopez, jiu-jitsu practitioner.
I don't even, I just feel like you're just letting her sit out there and die with that kind of a question. Like
on
at one
fire.
point it's just like, you know what, let's stop. Let's just go ahead and
Let's
breathe,
move on.
and let's redo this one.
You have, it's like the moment from Billy Madison. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
That's what he should have done. Like, you know what, just go ahead and walk. Sorry.
You lose. All right, next question. When did Pluto become a dwarf planet?
What the fuck do we look like? Neil deGrasse Tyson? Everyone's just asking space shit this week?
Lots of space.
What is wrong with you people? I know that Pluto is not a planet anymore. I do know that.
In August 2006, Pluto was demoted
Jesus.
to dwarf planet.
Didn't even get to defend himself.
I actually think it might be a real planet again now, but who gives
I don't think it is.
who gives a fuck, right? It's Pluto. It's a giant ball of ice floating around out there. Let's be honest.
And you were always saying that one last anyway.
Yeah.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Fuck Pluto.
That was kind of impressive right there.
Right?
Did you have what's the acronym for that? Do you remember that?
No, I just know them in order.
Dude.
Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune. Used to be Pluto.
That's pretty impressive. I
And
definitely
Neptune
could not
and
do that.
Pluto used to swap, I believe. Like you weren't always right that it went, and that's in order from how far away they are from the sun.
Mm-hmm.
So Neptune and Pluto, I feel like they used to actually swap. Like sometimes Pluto was closer, sometimes Neptune was closer, I believe.
Dude,
So I feel like you always had to know that. Like my teacher would ask you like some secret shit. Like, yeah, but what is it right now? And I'd be like, oh fuck, I don't know.
you're blowing my mind right now. I could not do that. Be like, yeah, I think Neptune's a planet, Uranus, Jupiter, I knew that's the big one. That would pretty much be me.
Really?
In space
Yeah.
right now.
I don't know why I remember that. Flashcards.
There you go. All right. Why are police called 12?
Dead serious. If you would, I've never heard this in my entire life.
Okay, so there's a reason.
Did you hear about this beforehand? I'm serious. You've heard of them called 12?
I have not, but here I
I've
am.
never heard
I
of
have
this.
recently just gotten into Migos, which is the hip hop group that brought this up.
Okay.
So
Migos.
yeah, dude.
Never heard of it.
You ever heard the song "Bad and Bougie"?
Oh, yeah. I
That's
have
them.
heard that.
That's them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so
I think I saw them on Ellen or some shit.
so 12 is a slang term used.
You're going to be dead if we end
Dude,
up shocking
I
you.
am for real. I gotta start taking cough syrup. I'm not gonna be drinking
You're
codeine
never
over
going to
here.
make it.
12 is a slang term used to refer to the police or any other law enforcement agencies. The 12 slang derives from Adam 12, a TV series which ran from 1968 to 1975 about a specific police department, and then was made highly popular by Migos in the song titled "Fuck 12." The lyrics go to, "It's a knock at my front door, 12 kicking in my front door. Now we running out the back door, drop the pistol. This is the life of a bando."
Man, I tell you what, those lyrics are profound. I have not listened to them before, and I am a real like lyricist junkie. You know what I mean? I love me some Common, some Jurassic 5, some Kendrick, and now clearly I need to make my way on over
With
to
you, Bad
Migos.
and Bougie is not your theme song yet?
Not yet, but I am mildly bougie myself.
Bad and Bougie.
I'll give it a chance.
I do like this song a lot. All right, next question. Why does Swiss cheese have holes?
God, I don't know, but it's so good.
Dude, I love Swiss cheese.
I love me some sharp cheese.
Some nice melty Swiss cheese, especially on a Reuben. Get your life. Oh my god.
A Reuben? Oof, I love me a Reuben.
Dude. A
Reuben.
nice marble rye with some do you like a corned beef Reuben or do you like a turkey Reuben?
You know, it's actually none of those.
Really?
I only eat one kind of Reuben in the world.
Okay.
And it may be washed away now, unfortunately, because it is down in Clearwater, Florida. There is a place that you can get some amazing fish down there. And it is, what is that fucking fish down there that everybody, grouper.
Oh, yeah.
They have a grouper Reuben
That
down
sounds
there.
incredible.
So it's grouper on all the normal
Does
shit.
it have Thousand Island and everything on it too?
Yeah. So
sauerkraut?
Yeah, sauerkraut.
God.
And it's got, like, they have one that's a super Reuben. So it's two, like, big-ass pieces of, like, broken up grouper, sauerkraut, marble rye with the Thousand Island. Oh, my God. It is so fucking good. There are times when I'm down there that I ate that multiple times in one day. My whole family's like, are we really eating the same place
thing,
again?
yeah.
Yes, we are.
Dude, I would swim in a bathtub of Thousand Island and sauerkraut. That's how much I like it.
Oh, man.
Dude, it is unbelievable.
Sauerkraut and grouper, I'm telling you, it's an odd combination that is incredible. It's so goddamn good. I hope Clearwater wasn't affected because I'm selfish and that's
I
all
want
that
my
matters.
sandwich.
Yeah, and I want my sandwiches.
All right. So
And
anyway,
that's my favorite beach.
Swiss cheese. So so we have
Oh, yeah. Why does Swiss cheese have holes in it? I have no idea.
I have a nice little video here. I'm interested for you to see how you feel about the gentleman who is narrating the video.
Okay.
He's going to tell us why Swiss cheese has holes in it.
Other than the smell of your feet, which we've covered already, this
the
is
fuck?
probably the most popular cheese-related question on the internet.
Was this
And the answer to
97?
why Swiss cheese has holes is actually pretty simple. All cheese is the product of fermentation, a type of respiration that some microorganisms use to feed in the absence of oxygen. Their
Why
food in
does
this
his
case is
shirt
lactose.
neck have to be so stretched out?
Dude, does it not look like his shirt has been eaten alive by
It
bleach
looks
too?
like somebody was fighting him over a change bowl. Like, you know, where there's several homeless people. Someone grabbed him, like, now give it to me. They were arguing with him. His shirt's all stretched out. He looks mildly homeless, but
It's
he's on
dry,
TV.
It's dry rotting and stuff.
What is wrong with this guy? He looks like he played keyboard in Linkin Park in 98.
He's got like a faux hawk and just like
One side is
a
colored.
2-inch spot on his bangs. He's like Atreyu is still his favorite band.
Isn't that sad when you are dying to be original and be something that looks different? You know what I mean? To where you're just like, I got to figure it out. You know what? One little blonde streak through my hair.
It's 24. This came out in 2014, and Fashion Core died in like 2007.
Yeah,
so
let it
please,
go.
dude, get the fuck with
You
the times.
look like an asshole.
Sugar found in milk. And to make cheese, all you really need to do is warm up some milk, toss in some bacteria, wait for it to thicken into chunky curds, and then
Ew.
give the whole thing a brine bath to make it form a protective rind. Then you just let the bacteria do their thing somewhere safe like a cheese cave, and then a few months or years later, boom, you've got sandwiches. Now the holes have to do with what kind of bacteria you have in your cheese. Some cheeses are made with homofermentative bacteria. They tend to produce one main byproduct when they respire, in this case lactic
Homofermentative.
acid. And in addition to certain cheeses like cheddar, they're used to make pickles, sauerkraut, yogurt, and other tart-tasting things. But there are also heterofermentative bacteria, which create a whole bunch of byproducts, including carbon dioxide. These bacteria, like P. shermani, are what are used to make Swiss cheese. So as the bacteria are in their little cave,
So the
or whatever,
answer
eating
becomes,
lactose and
who
excreting
gives a
carbon
shit?
dioxide, the gas gets trapped inside the cheese rind and forms bubbles. If you're making a soft cheese, these gas bubbles can move through the cheese and leak out of the rind. But Swiss cheese is more dense with a thick rind, and the gas can't escape, so these bubbles form air pockets which eventually leave behind the cheese's signature holes. Cheesemakers refer to these holes as eyes, and they can control the size of them by adjusting the cheese's acidity, temperature, and aging time, all of which influence the byproducts of the bacteria. So for example, milder baby Swiss has smaller holes because it doesn't age as long. And here's a fun fact. In the US, the Food and Drug Administration legislation actually regulates the size of Swiss cheese holes.
Oh, come
Holes
on.
must be between 3/8 of an inch and 13/16 of an inch in
That's
diameter.
too much control.
Don't gum
Some
up the commercial
motherfucker
cheese.
is coming in. He's like, the Swiss cheese factory is like, all right, guys, we got an inspection this week. We got the cheese hole measurer who is coming in.
I'm
You
here.
gotta watch
I'm
it."
here for the audit. Can you show me where your cheese section is, sir? And
He's got
the calipers out.
He's
and-
got a it's retractable. It's on one of those like little chain things like the janitors carry with their keys. And he zips it out off of his belt and he's measuring the holes.
He's like 3/16. This is 3/8. You're about double oversized, sir. You're gonna have to get this cheese out of here.
Throw it all away.
This
Throw
is too
all
dangerous.
this cheese away.
You got to get. We need to inspect all your cheese now. Once we found a finding, we have to go through all your cheese. You're gonna have to quarantine this cheese. This cannot be sold. We also need to contact anybody you sold this to in the last 24 hours.
This is an official cheese recall. I'm going to need you to pull all of the Swiss cheese off the shelf.
I need all your sales records. We're gonna fine you. This is obviously your process is completely out of control. Who runs this fucking
Sir,
place?
were you buying Swiss cheese on September 15th, 2017? I'm going to have to ask you to throw that away.
Yeah.
It's out of regulation.
Lawyers are going to be called. I ate bad cheese. It was out of spec. Fuck. Who gives a fuck? I can't believe that people give a shit about this. Why
I
do you
know.
care?
So, long story short, it's from fucking air bubbles because
Woo!
it's some dense cheese. There you go.
I do like cheese, though. Don't get me wrong.
Oh, dude, cheese is great. All right. Next question. Is the earth flat?
I can't believe people ask these kind of questions
Dude, I know.
because it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Have you ever been on a really high building and looked out? It's flat as hell.
Yeah, I mean, like, if it was round, people would just fall off, right?
Duh.
So are the people on the bottom side of the earth just walking upside down all day?
I mean,
What's
come on.
going on?
I mean, it's too silly. Of course it's flat. And several smart people think the same thing as us.
So here I pulled an example so that you guys could know exactly how we feel. This is a flat earther who was recently in the news. And it's on Fox News, so you know it's true.
Shaquille O'Neal is apparently a flat earther. When asked on his
Good.
podcast, The Big Podcast with Shaq, about Kyrie Irving's recent comments that the earth is flat, former NBA big man said, quote, "It's true. The earth is flat." O'Neal says there are 3 ways the human mind is manipulated into believing things: what you read, what you see, and what you hear.
True.
He references the elementary history lesson of Christopher Columbus discovering America, before steering off course to how Columbus didn't actually discover a new land. Because fair-skinned people with long hair and peace pipes were already there. The reasoning behind O'Neal's Earth is flat claim: he drives from Florida to California all the time, and that he doesn't go up and down at a 360-degree angle because it's flat. During his rant,
Science.
he posed the question, "Have you looked at all the buildings outside?" while rejecting the idea that China is under us, in which he says it's not. Shaq joins a growing list of apparent NBA flat earthers. On a different podcast, Irving was asked by teammates, "Do you think the earth is round?" An unequivocal Irving responded, "This is not even a conspiracy theory. The earth is flat." Pressed to explain himself, Irving spoke of particular groups in a mysterious they who want to convince us that the earth is round.
Illuminati.
I'm telling you, it's right in front of our faces. They lie to us. A number of other players came to Irving's defense, including Draymond Green and Wilson Chandler. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver addressed Irving's claim in his annual State of the League address, clarifying, "I believe the world is round."
Well, you're
and
white,
suggesting
so there.
Irving was making some broader social commentary about fake news in this country. The Greek philosopher
Why did he
Aristotle
feel the
argued
need
in his
to
writings
discuss
that
it in the
the
first
Earth
place?
was spherical.
So weird.
Because of the circular shadow it
He is
cast on
they.
the moon during
Yeah.
a lunar eclipse.
You're the fucking
Perhaps
Illuminati.
The theory of a flat Earth is an alternative.
Yeah,
fact.
guys that run the
For Fox
NBA,
News, I'm Rob Demetrius.
guys that run the NBA and own teams, you are a part of they. You're in the Illuminati.
Yeah.
You would want us to believe it's round.
Yeah, get out of here. I'm not biting on that fake news.
And, when you get to the ends of the earth, because you'd fall off the edge, it's surrounded by large icebergs and the wall watchers.
And if you want to support the Flat Earth movement, hit up our sponsor, Flat Earth.
Oh, you're right.
Or the Flat Earth stickers from fighterphilosophy.com.
That is true.
I have one on the back of my laptop right now.
Yeah, is the Earth flat? Of course. I mean, it's the one that I mean, there are videos of people trying to show you that it's round and trying to explain that it's all bullshit because, you know, I like to always look at these kind of conspiracy theories and see like what are they gaining. You would probably say like, Lee, what are they gaining to lie to us about the Earth is round? And I'd be like, I'm not sure, but all I know is it's flat.
Yeah. Well, the edges of the Earth, I believe, is where they take the bad people and they drop them off, and they just don't want us to know that exists.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's where the wall watchers are, and they make sure you don't go past. I'll tell you this. You can't go find the end because they won't let you see it.
Yeah. It's like the Truman Show.
Yeah, go to Antarctica and go see if you can go find the edge.
Yeah.
You won't make it, sir.
The Truman Show is based on a true story.
Yeah. Just someone go find it. Where's that live video at? Somebody would be there right now proving it. Like, no, you can go to the end and it keeps going. Well, go to Antarctica then. Where's these videos at?
Yeah,
no one's allowed over there.
It's too cold.
You're not even allowed there. You're not even allowed in Antarctica. You're not allowed.
You'll get attacked by Santa Claus.
Yeah.
There you go.
And all the elves. They are the wall watchers. Where do you think the North Pole is?
That's dude, I'm with you. All right. Is Kenny Chesney married?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Isn't he gay?
Well, it's funny that you say that because I think that's the main reason. There's a whole bunch of hillbillies out there who are like really super attracted to Kenny Chesney. A whole bunch of girls who are wearing cowboy boots and sundresses who are like, Kenny Chesney is my soulmate. And they want to know, one, they want to know if he's married, and two, they're worried about whether he might be gay or not. So in 2005, he married Renee Zellweger, and then 4 months later, they got an annulment, and the annulment was because of the word fraud is what she used. And then there was a rumor going around that he was gay, and then she addressed it saying that he wasn't, and he said that he wasn't as well. Sounds like a classic cover-up to me.
Yeah, what was fraud? It was a fraud that he was straight.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, be gay. What the fuck do I care?
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Yeah, embrace it.
Like, is he married? Well, no, because the state he lives in, gay marriage isn't legal, but does he have a partner? Probably.
Yeah, well, let's be honest here.
Is he taken by another guy? Yeah. Is he married? Current laws keep him from being so.
Unfortunately, the talent that he was given in life for terrible country music that sells to people who want to listen to songs about trucks, you know, it's not very conducive to the lifestyle that he leads.
No. So he's got to keep it under wraps until he's done making his money. I looked up how much money he makes a year. Dude, he makes $42 million a year.
That is unbelievable. To sing covers of Margaritaville.
Holy cow. Is he the Margaritaville guy?
He has sang covers of Margaritaville with Jimmy Buffett.
Good Lord.
I think the last Margaritaville I was in, I think there's one in Chicago on Navy Pier, I think. I want to say. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm thinking of something else. But they just basically play a looped video of different covers of Margaritaville. And for some reason, I know that he's on it. I don't know.
Huh. Wow.
There you go.
I never knew much about this guy until these questions.
All right. Next question. How do snakes never get in a knot? And if they do, how do they escape?
That is a fairly good question, dead serious. But the thing about knots is you got to realize you got to pull in two different directions to tighten a knot. So they can't go, snakes don't like make their tail go backwards and their head go forward. They're pretty much a loose ass shitty knot at all times. So
yeah, they just back it out.
I mean, they could go make themselves into a knot and you could pull on their head and their tail and you could put them in a knot, but they can't put themselves in a knot.
That is a very logical way to answer a question that the internet wants to know.
Yeah, but please don't do that to a snake, though. That's creepy.
And you might get bit, and that would not be good.
Yeah.
All right. So
or if you do get bit and you want to torture them, maybe put them in a knot.
I love this next question because it sent you down the longest rabbit hole last night of all time. Is it possible to see a live satellite view of your house? I
was like, hell, I don't know. Can you? So I downloaded a bunch of apps. I was looking on the internet trying to find things. I couldn't find anything. I would say no. There's no live view of your house. But I think about the poor fucker who was looking this up, who's doing something that he does not want to be seen.
I will say from a logical standpoint, if you don't think that the government can see a satellite view of your house live, you are very ignorant.
Really?
However,
oh my god,
the fact that the government,
what's that hard drive look like?
if you're doing something that makes the government want to look at your house from a live satellite view, you might want to rethink what you're doing with your life.
What does the bunker look like every week when they go over this house?
Yeah,
they're like these two guys, they get together, they're sitting down and doing something. They're planning something big.
Yeah.
Like for hours a week, they keep doing this. There's something going on out there.
They're just tracking our movements.
They're watching us.
Seriously, though, there are some paranoid people out there. They are not worried about what you're doing, okay? So
Yeah, no, Jesus.
move on. Why do we get eye crust when we wake up in the morning?
Well, eye crust is pretty much a combination of mucus,
Gross.
oil, skin, just gross shit and debris that accumulates in a corner of your eye. Throughout the day, you're wiping your eyes. Your eyes are watering, constantly kind of getting flushed out. But at night, you can't blink. Your eyes aren't watering, so all the debris, gets caught in the corner of your fucking eye.
Yeah, and you have eye shit in the morning. You got to wipe away.
It's pretty easy.
All right. What are the best jobs for people who hate people?
I ended up looking this up because I couldn't figure out what the hell it was. So there was a Business Insider article that specifically said, jobs for people who hate people.
That's amazing.
So this is what it said. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't go down a great path. These are not the best jobs in the world. A potter, someone who just makes pots.
Okay.
Like those hippies that start off with a big clump of clay and it spins around and they're adding water and that kind of bullshit. And all of a sudden, a week later, you have did you make those in high school?
No.
Oh my God, I did. And they were the shittiest looking things I've ever made in my life.
I will tell you that to go back to high school, I took a jewelry class my senior year and won 2 awards in the art show. Maybe I missed my calling on
for
that.
being a master jeweler.
A master jeweler.
Sick. So you could be a painter,
a candlestick maker,
a hand grinder or polisher. I know from experience that when I was a grinder, when I first started my work life, I tell you what, when you're grinding, you definitely have no time to be talked to or talk to anybody else because your hand is always moving. It's loud as shit. I mean, it's like the entire time. If you hate people, believe me, you ain't talking to nobody and no one's talking to your ass.
There you go.
So that might be the one for you. A geological sample test technician. Problem is, that's just a really cool name for checking out animal shit.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, you're taking samples and things of different poop, figuring out what's being eaten in the area and what's life like in there. So it's you're checking poop.
That's a very specific job title.
Exactly. It sounds so cool too, but it's not that great. You could be a janitor.
Okay.
You could be a molding and casting machine operator.
That's a master of the custodial arts.
Exactly. There we go. Molding and casting machine operator. Pretty much, if you've seen 8 Mile, you know what Eminem's job was, where he was just pressing the handles and it's ka-chunk, ka-chunk,
okay,
ka-chunk,
gotcha.
that kind of a job. Because obviously you're just trying to hit out production. You don't have time to be around other people. Not that bad.
Yeah.
And then you got a craft artist knitter. So you could, essentially be what my great grandma was, just knitting bad shirts for people.
Yeah, here's a hat.
Yeah.
Here's a wine bottle hugger.
Right. Exactly. And then hunters and trappers, which that actually kind of scares me if you become that. I hate people and then I become a master hunter.
He's just like fucking Davy Crockett out living in the woods.
That eventually, I feel like that ends up bad when you push them to go be hunters because then all of a sudden they still hate people. And then you find a guy sniping people on the highway somewhere.
Sir, you're on my land. Nobody owns the woods.
Exactly. This kind of freaks me out though because if you don't like people, you can either make pots, paint shit, grind some stuff, be a janitor, be a knitter, or a hunter.
Yeah, live in the woods.
There ain't shit to do. If you don't like people, it just looks like you got to suck it up.
You better get your life.
Get a fucking real job.
All right. When are moles most active?
It has to be now. Otherwise, there's no way that this comes up, right?
Yeah. So trapping for moles, if you're trying to get rid of them, is most successful during the spring and fall months after a rain. They're difficult to locate during the summer and winter months because they tunnel deeper down. I will tell you, as a seasoned employee of an area of the Home Depot, if you want to get rid of moles, the first thing you need to do is put something down to kill the grubs and insects in your lawn. That's the biggest mistake that people make, is they put these traps out and they may kill a mole, but more are coming because you have grubs.
Dude, how ahead of the curve though was my dad? there was no internet. Like this thing saying like after a rain and all that. As soon as I read that, I go, oh my God, my dad was smarter than I thought. If you're not hip to moles, because not everybody might not know, but moles, they look like little platypuses, and they have like, instead of hands, they almost have big, huge, like scoopy fin type things. It's creepy looking. And my dad used to find a hole, and they'll dig all around your yard, and all of a sudden your yard will like sink in little hole, like 4-inch gaps kind of thing. And they can fuck your yard all up.
Yeah, for sure.
And my dad would find like a fresh hole. He would stick a hose down there and then turn on the water. And he would leave it on for a long time, right? And then I used to be like, what the hell is he doing? And I stood out there with him one time. And he did that. And all of a sudden, one of the moles starts coming up to the surface. Like he was drowning that little bastard. And then he came out, and my dad had some creepy tool that had like 8 spikes on it going in different directions, and he just like wham and fucking stabs the fucker right in the head and body. He just destroyed that little bastard. My dad was like a little mole serial killer.
We had a neighbor who was this old lady who the bane of her existence was moles, and she used to go out, and I don't know if you know some of the things you can use to get rid of moles, but they have legit smoke bombs that you can buy for them. And so she would get these smoke bombs, put them out there, stomp the holes down, wait for this little fucker to go running, and would take a 2-handed screwdriver and stand over the hole and stab the ground repeatedly to pull these things up out of the ground.
Oh man, what is wrong with these people?
It was gnarly.
That is just so outside of my realm. What kind of a diva am I? I'm just like, ew, I'm not touching that. I call somebody.
I also just would not care at all.
Dead serious. I'm pretty sure we've had moles like around here, because I see sections of the yard that like, I'm like, that feels really squishy. Like that feels like a little tunnel. I'm like, I don't give a shit. Bore away. What?
Your neighbors are probably not very happy about that.
Oh, they're pissed that I never take care of it.
Yeah.
Because they're just living out there with scissors on their yard. And I'm just like, fuck the mole. Let them live.
Legitimately scissors out in there.
Yeah, I take the moles and I grab them and I throw them in their yard.
Yeah, and the moles are, they're smart. They're like, I'm not going over to that yard. I'm going to stay right here in my nice... Right, they don't go past the fence.
They come out and they can just smell human working in the yard at all times, because I don't think they have eyesight or something.
It's like really, I think they're blind, yeah.
Yeah, they come out and they smell an old, sweaty man always working in the yard, and they're like, oh, fuck, got to get out of there.
Yeah.
They're like, I never smell these people because they live in their house.
They don't care.
They don't care.
All right, last question. Why is my computer slow?
Well, there's only one obvious reason.
Yeah.
You've downloaded way too many ebooks. And you have way too many family photos.
I think it definitely has to do with downloads.
You have way too many pictures of your baby.
I think that
downloading screensaver, like really cool high-grade screensavers.
Well, I don't think that's it.
That will take up too much of your hard drive, too much RAM, and then your computer's really slow.
You're downloading something, that's for sure.
What?
I think it would be pornography.
Who downloads porn?
Okay.
Do people really download
These
porn
days,
anymore?
Okay, let's talk about this.
That is old school. I used to take my dad. I forgot what my dad had. My dad had something. Oh, no. I don't remember what it was. There was like my dad. Oh, my God. I'm totally ratting myself out right now. I remember I used to go to my dad and grandparents' work, and they had normal internet access and all that shit back in the day, where there was like dial-up internet. And I remember like where the pictures would show up super slow.
Yep.
And I would have to wait 20 minutes just to hope to get some pictures of like someone in someone, because maybe it's a guy, I don't know. And someone in a bikini or some shit, when I'm like a teenager and I'm like, oh God. And then I see it and I save it, and I used to put it on a floppy.
Yep.
And I remember
100% no.
Stacked my floppy with a bunch of stuff. And then I had like a broken laptop that couldn't do anything except like play one game of like Minesweeper and then look at my floppy. And I just stare at my floppy all day like, oh man, this is so cool.
Dude, we live in this weird time period where we went through this experience where while the internet was just fast enough to be able to like download things, but slow enough to where you couldn't do it still kind of sucked. Where we were kids during that time, that like adolescent period where you were looking for porn and things like that.
Yeah.
How many songs how many songs and how much porn did you download illegally to where you just knew that you were going to have to throw that computer away?
Yeah. I was scrapping computers like they were just things that got worn out.
Oh, dude, I know. Yeah,
You eventually download so many viruses, so many bullshit. I'll keep what I can, what songs and porn I can keep, and then boom, on to the next
I'm
one.
downloading some porn and AFI's Sing the Sorrow at the same time.
Of course.
It's taken 6 days. I'm having to stay connected to dial-up while I'm at school, hoping to God that it doesn't drop the connection while I'm there. Nobody can call the house ever.
Yeah.
And I come home from school and I have about an extra 2 minutes of my porn and one more song that I can listen to.
Or wasn't the worst part though when you would come home when you're downloading music illegally and you're like, okay, song number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9.
You missed a song.
Oh fuck! Like I don't even have all the album.
Yeah.
They're gonna know I downloaded this. Shit.
Sing the Sorrow was legitimately the first album that I ever downloaded.
Oh really?
Yep.
Man,
Yep.
That's a good one.
All right. So that's the end of Google questions. Let's move on to some excitement.
Yeah, you got a trailer this week
I do.
by Ridley Scott.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought this movie looked really cool. It's called All the Money in the World.
Son of a...
Gotta love a good soundtrack.
To be a Getty is an extraordinary thing. My grandfather wasn't just the richest man in the world. He was the richest man in the history of the world.
That's pretty rich.
We look like you, but we're not like you. It's like we're from another planet.
They just showed us huge yards and huge houses.
If you have a model of your own house inside your house, you're rich.
This is how cool my house is.
It bends people, too.
Oh shit.
Stay away from the van.
An old school kidnapping.
Miss Getty, we have your son.
Is this some kind of joke?
$17 million.
Just get Liam Nielsen.
I don't
There you
have
go.
any money.
Get it from your father-in-law.
I will find you, and I will kill you. I feel bad for her. She was running in her house.
Yeah.
You know how far she had to run to get to the front door?
It's like a mile.
I'm gonna help you find your son.
I'm not a real Getty. I just married one.
She makes it all the way to front, and she's like trying to call the police, like, hold on really quick, I just had to run so far. They took my son.
Why is there only one phone in the house?
Jesus Christ. Drop some more phones in this place.
Fighting an empire.
We need to pay the ransom. They will do things to Paul that cannot be undone for any amount of money.
I ask as a mother.
They were going to cut his hair.
We have to
Can't be undone.
to walk away.
I can't walk away.
Cut those golden locks.
For real, how crazy is that's Kevin Spacey?
He looks creepier than usual.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
He already usually looks creepy to me.
He's got all kinds of crazy stuff on there.
Mr. Getty, how much would you pay to release your grandson if not $17 million?
Nothing.
Dude, cold as fuck.
My grandson was always an asshole. Fuck that kid. All the money in the world. I'm a fan of Ridley Scott, so you at least know that even outside of whether it's a good movie or not, it's going to look awesome.
Yeah, I think that movie looks incredible.
It looks cool.
It's a good soundtrack, and I believe it's if it's not entirely a true story, it's at least based on one.
I just wonder what is it going to do. Like, they almost showed too much to where they almost killed my hype for it, though.
Yeah.
Like, it looks really cool. I want to see it because it looks cool, but when I'm thinking of from a story point of view, I'm like, okay, so they took a rich kid, the grandpa who has all the money doesn't want to pay, and the wife has nothing. I mean, the mom has nothing and can't do shit about it.
Where does this go?
So, where's the fucking story?
Yeah.
They're like, so she tries, she doesn't get him, and they kill him. So that's about it.
It's gonna be interesting to see.
But
Looks good, so we'll see.
It looks nice though.
I hope that it is good. So let's do some fight talk.
It's actually not Marvin Gaye singing. It's me.
You have a beautiful voice.
I try.
All right, let's talk about some fights. So last night we had Fight Night Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and unfortunately we can go through the card pretty fast because, I mean, it was it's one of those, like, you got to have a card to keep the UFC kind of pushing forward because there's so many fighters. So there's a lot of events that need to kind of go down to keep it moving. So it was a lot of, like, keep it moving fights.
Yeah.
Nothing that does much, you know?
You know, I love that there are fights on frequently, but sometimes it gets to be a little too much, especially like this time of year when you have college football on, you have the NFL, you've got the Triple G fight with Triple G Canelo fight was last night. You get all this stuff going on, and then you're gonna have another fight card next weekend on Friday,
right,
which is also kind of iffy. Why wouldn't you just skip one of those and put everything together and like put together one decent fight night and maybe do one or two to be a placeholder till 216?
Because to be like an actual fan, I feel like these kind of cards hurt me more than help me.
Yeah, because you feel obligated to watch.
Right, but I'm like, God, I feel like I'm watching a bunch of no-name fights, you know what I mean? It's like watching The Ultimate Fighter, but somehow it sucks because I don't feel like I even give it the respect that it may deserve. I mean, because some of these fighters are great fighters. Guys like Rockhold and Branch and Perry and Lombard and what was that? The Usman.
Yeah.
And Mercier. There's a bunch of, and Uriah Hall was on the card. These are all guys that are worth a shit, but you've almost put a lot of them in fights where they were like kind of supposed to win. Can we get them back on track kind of things? They weren't like high profile matchups, so it was almost hard to care. It was rough for me.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree.
It almost felt like a job watching it more than it was like fun watching fights.
Yeah.
But we got Luke Rockhold, who won last night, getting back on track after the knockout to Bisbing, I think, almost a year and a half ago.
Does it not look like he's wearing jean shorts in this picture?
It does look like he's wearing jean shorts, and that's why I like the new shorts for Reebok a lot better. Because when a guy as handsome as Rockhold can wear jean shorts, I'm a fan. He got the second round finish yesterday, but man, it started off kind of bad. He started off real slow, and David Branch knew that keeping pressure was going to keep Rockhold from being able to kick and punch. But eventually, at the end of the round, you could tell Rockhold got a takedown. It was late, and he got him down, and you could tell Rockhold was like, that's the key.
Yeah.
And it was surprising because David Branch is no slouch on the ground. I mean, he comes from an extremely good camp with a bunch of guys that are monsters on the ground. And Rockhold, once he got him to the ground, made him look like shit. I mean, it was pass, mount, stay on the mount, beat him up, have the back, beat him up. I mean, it was really nice to see him just take out a guy that's as good as David Branch. David Branch is no stepping stone for anybody, but Luke, second round, walked right over him.
I felt like that was kind of the theme of the night. We had a lot of fights where the person who ended up winning was losing the first round pretty decidedly, and then switched gears. So let's move on to Mike Perry versus Alex Reyes.
I love Mike Perry, so it was awesome to see Mike Perry get another knockout. This guy, every single win that he's ever had was by KO.
Yeah.
Every win. How crazy is that?
Yeah, he looked really good last night too. That was a very decisive out of all the fights last night. I think it was like one of the quick. I think it might have been the quickest finish.
I just think it's I think there was a heavyweight one that might have ended a little faster because it was within like seconds.
Yeah.
But I like Mike Perry because he's got an interesting personality. He's pretty brash. I feel like he is almost he's not like Diaz and everybody, but he is a shit talker. He wants to be seen. He's trying to put it out there, and he's a kill or be killed kind of guy. I really like Mike Perry. I'm a big fan of this guy.
Called out Robbie Lawler at the end of the fight.
And that, you know what I mean? Like, he was supposed to have a little bit more high-profile opponent in Thiago Alves, but I think the stuff in Florida kept him from getting there. So that would have been a fight that really pushed him up 170. The only problem is when you don't end up beating any real top 10 guys. He knocked out Jake Ellenberger, but Ellenberger's been kind of on his way down for a long time.
Yeah.
He hasn't been beating any top 10 guys. So all of a sudden get a guy that's top 3, top 4. It's kind of rough, but I don't mind it.
Yeah.
I think that is the fight to watch right now. We were talking about that the other week. I said before we start making 170 matchups, we need to go see what Mike Perry does in a couple weeks, because to throw him in the top mix of 170 now would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Because you got Robbie Lawler, you got Mike Perry, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, Masvidal, Cerrone, Dos Anjos, Woodley, Damian Maia. I mean, top 10 of that division right now is the matchups are so much fun. I mean, would you not love to see Mike Perry and Donald Cerrone?
Absolutely.
You know, Mike Perry and Jorge Masvidal, Mike Perry and Wonderboy Tom. I mean, Wonderboy would probably be his worst matchup. You more likely want to keep him with guys that are just boxers.
Brawlers, yeah.
But there's a lot of great matchups though. I like Mike Perry in top 10 matchups, not for winning's sake, but for like
entertainment
be
value.
Fun.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's a lot of really 170 is full of, though it's being run by a guy that has good boxing and good wrestling, everybody else isn't necessarily like that. They're kind of like their one trick kind of thing. And I actually kind of like that most of their one trick is striking. Almost everybody is striking. Though it may not give you the championship, at least figuring out the pecking order is going to be a lot of fun.
You'll always have a home in the UFC too if you're one of those stand at the toe of the line and you know, bang. So
outside of that, though, Lombard, Hector's been having a hard time. It's like that guy's been kind of all over the place recently. He can't really keep it together.
Fighting a long, lengthy opponent, he looked really good in the first like round and a half,
right? And
then it just kind of it fell apart. He got caught. So
yeah, and other than that, Usman picks up another win, looking crazy dominant, taking out Moraes. Aubin Mercier won another fight. He's been on a nice little tear here soon. He's one of those guys, though, that's beating up a lot of guys that he should. Outside of that, Uriah Hall got back on track.
Looked rough in the first round.
Looked really rough in the first round. And it's another guy who he does not do good on his back foot. When people pressure him, he doesn't do that well. But when he finally gets room, man, he's incredibly dangerous, and he shows that every time. When people give him room, he's deadly.
Jotko he was putting the gas on him in the first round, caught him, tried to finish the fight. It seemed like he gassed himself out and just couldn't close the distance in the second and got finished. So
let's end with this next one.
And then
so last night we watched Canelo Triple G, and I thought the fight was pretty fun, honestly.
Yeah.
In the earlier rounds, Canelo was really busy, hitting pretty hard shots. He seemed like he was kind of going after it. But Triple G, once the 5th round hit or so, man, he took over. I mean, he was stalking Canelo, landing a couple like bombs pretty often, piecing him up with smaller stuff. The jab, I mean, he was jabbing Canelo to death. And I thought it was so crazy because we make it to the decision at the end of the fight, and everyone, I mean, Twitter, people on Facebook, and I don't think anybody thought that Canelo won that fight. I mean, like that it was even close at all. And then the scorecard comes out, and it ends up being a draw.
Yeah, so I have the actual official scorecards from the judges here too. I'll read them off since you're blind and I know you won't be able to see that. So judge number 1 gave it 118 to 110 for Canelo, which is absolutely insane.
That is unbelievable.
He only gave the 4th and the 7th round to Triple G, which is because the
5th round he beat the shit out of Canelo.
Well, and the other thing is, if you watch that fight, the entire middle chunk of the fight.
Yeah,
it's not even a question.
5 to 10.
Yeah,
I mean Canelo wasn't even in there.
So then the next judge had it 115, 113. He had Triple G winning the fight, but it still seems closer there than it should have been.
But that I almost understand a little more. You know what I mean? As a boxing judge, because for me, sometimes boxing is judged slightly different than MMA,
Mm-hmm.
so we can't always just be like, well, he was stalking him, and we almost give like the cage control and throwing more and blah blah blah. In boxing, that's not always it. Whiffing at punches and or being the defensive guy, they do score that a lot. Like if you're swinging at air and a guy is being defensively, they will give you kind of points, and you can win a round by landing a couple punches and not really getting hit much. So I was like, okay, could I have misjudged some of those rounds and it been that tight, 115 to 113? I'd almost understand that a little more.
So that judge gave Triple G rounds 3 through 9, and then 1, 2, and then 10, 11, 12 to Canelo, and then the last judge.
And Canelo did turn it on at the end.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't have been surprised about the last 2 rounds. I really wouldn't have.
And then the last judge had it 114 to 114 as a draw, and so it's just he had him losing. He had Triple G winning 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 8 and 9.
I mean, doesn't it look? I mean, even when you're looking at the cards, you know, the people that like Golden Boy that do these promotions, they are the ones who pick the judges.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that is an unbelievable conflict of interest. I mean, if people are freaking out about this today. I don't know if you've seen. I mean, in the morning, there are guys that are Teddy Atlas is on ESPN freaking out this morning with Stephen A. Smith. I mean, there are guys saying corruption, and they're bringing it up again with boxing being corrupt. It is a big, huge deal all over again. This is what's killing our sport and blah, blah, blah. And it's sad to see because Canelo didn't win that fight.
No.
I mean, I know it was a draw, and that doesn't make Triple G have a loss. I get all that. But he did not win that fight. It was, I mean, Triple G won so clearly.
Canelo got his ass beat in the middle of that fight. I mean, there was a good solid 5 to 6 rounds where he looked awful. I mean, how you could even give that as a 10-9 round is insane to me, because he all he did was try to avoid, and he still ate punch after punch after punch. He had no offense. The 10-9 round thing is such a broken scoring system anyway. I just hate that. I really hope that the UFC and MMA in general gets better about doing that. It seems like, I mean, it's better obviously with the unified rules or whatever, but it just, to me, you have got to get better about giving a 10-8 round to somebody. You can't have to like just knock somebody near death to give them a 10-8 round and not finish the fight. It's got to be more like that. When you're on your heels and you're running the entire time, you're not landing any punches, how you can give him a 10-9 round is insane to me.
I mean, there were rounds where he was stalking him and just beating him down.
Yes.
There are rounds where Canelo was landing and Triple G was landing, and I'd be like, okay, I don't misunderstand a 10-9. Like, if you won literally by 2 punches type thing, I understand that being a 10-9. But there needs to be some mild distinction. From 6 to 9 or so, there were rounds where Canelo was nowhere to be found and was getting stalked and just beat up.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, like, he looked bad in those rounds. To where, I don't know, those are not the same kind of rounds.
And Triple G's significant strikes were like head snap back.
Right.
I mean, he's touch, and then throwing a bomb, and it's you know.
Well, and people will cite the CompuStrike numbers and everything where it says that the power shots were roughly the same. The thing is, you got to look at the shots that are not considered the same.
Yeah.
Like the jab. You know, they showed the jab numbers, and it was like 100 to 300.
Yeah, they tried to after the fight last night. They tried to make the argument. Well, this is kind of what made it close. Well, you're showing 3 different statistics. One of the statistics is almost even, and the other 2 statistics, Triple G
are heavily favored in Triple G's
is like 2 to 1.
Right.
So what are we talking about here? This doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So,
well, I mean, like the ring commandmanship, the smaller punches, the jabs, he absolutely dominated. The power shots were roughly even. And then, I mean, I really, watching this fight, I just didn't see how it was close at all. And you could see everybody freaking out. And these are the kind of things, though. See, this is what happens to boxing all the time, is like the big fights that everybody's waiting for, you end up getting corruption, or you get the big fight and then it doesn't come through. That's the big difference. That when people talk about boxing and MMA, I don't really give a fuck because I'm full on MMA, period.
Yeah.
I watch boxing because it's a part of the sport and I watch it every once in a while if it's these kind of fights. But at the end of the day, what they are selling in boxing is they're selling you a fight. A fight, right? But when you watch like a UFC pay-per-view, you're buying a fight card.
Mm-hmm.
There's a big difference. You know what I mean? those people that were watching that card last night were waiting for one fight and one fight only. People that are getting the pay-per-view are getting one fight and one fight only. There are times on UFC pay-per-views that the main event isn't even the one I'm necessarily cared about, but the opener is fire.
Yeah,
the second one is crazy. The third one determines who's going to fight for the heavyweight championship next. The next one is a number one contender fight. The next, you know what I mean? You're buying 5-6 fights that are all interesting.
3 title fights on the next card. I mean, even the prelims will be good. And then we've had it as much before where you had to watch Fight Pass because there were fights on there that were good that you wanted to watch. I mean, we've watched Joe Lozon on Fight Pass for
which is unbelievable.
Yeah, that's crazy. So to me, you're exactly right. You're buying a card. It's hard to complain about a UFC card when you go and you look at what boxing is and you're waiting around all night for one fight.
Well, and then when that one fight goes wrong, you can almost understand people wanting to get off the ship, though, because you all waited for this one thing and it didn't come through. Where with the UFC, you're not necessarily doing that. All your eggs are not in one basket. If the last fight was a stinker, but you got 5 fights leading up to it that were all incredible in the pay-per-view or gave you some new storylines, some told you who number one contenders were, maybe there were some battles in there, maybe there's a crazy knockout in there, you're going in the main event, you're almost like good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The main event could go wrong, not come through, not deliver, whatever, and you'd be like, no big deal because we got all this earlier. The thing with boxing is they're selling one fight, and damn, if that one fight doesn't go exactly how it should, everyone's pissed.
Yep.
And in this case, it just happens to be, it puts a spotlight on like a corruption thing that, man, they've been plagued with for a long time, and they fucked up because the 2 biggest fights this year, the one they considered to be a sham because it had an MMA guy and a guy that was retired, and the other one that was supposed to be like, oh, this is the fight we all need to watch, this is the one, this is what everybody, the other stuff is a sham, this is the fight, and then you watch it and it's full of corruption. This is going to leave a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths.
Absolutely.
And it's only going to add to MMA.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what's going to happen. We're going to only pick up more fans.
All right, so we'll very quickly.
No, we were going to go to the John Jones thing. We'll save it because honestly, it's not much different than what we were already going through.
Same thing, just reactions.
Yeah, because it was like his A sample failed, and guess what? His B did too. Well, no shit.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So I'd say we'll talk about the John Jones stuff. We already talked about the original thing when he got busted for it. To me, we'll talk more when we actually get a little bit more clarification on the whole thing. Because right now, he's got no excuses, no nothing. I'm almost interested. So what is the next fold? You know what I mean? And we don't have that yet. So when we do, we'll talk about it. Let's bring her in.
All right, shout-outs. So shout-outs this week to my dad.
Oh, hey, stupid.
He's going to get a big kick out of the nickname thing. Shout-outs to Amber Addison. To Ben Messerschmidt, we are preparing a hillbilly taste test for Lee in the near future, so we're really looking forward to that. And just anybody else who has reached out in the last few weeks. Twitter has been insane here recently. Yeah. A lot of people have been downloading old episodes and reaching out to us about that, so thank you guys for that. We really appreciate it, and have a good week.
Who do I shout out? I'm just going off the dome. Let's freestyle it. Ray Hughes, Amber Addison, Stephanie Raskow. Stephanie Raskow made us a new logo recently. We're gonna hit up some new shirts and new shit. The next one coming for you guys is for like a fall hoodie type thing. It is straight fire. You guys are
excited about it.
Gonna love that one. Stu Diamond, King Keller, all the usual suspects who are always helping us out and pushing the stuff out there. We love you guys. Love all the new fans, all the people hitting us up on Twitter. We definitely appreciate it. We need all the help possible. Anybody out there who listens, tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your buddies who listen to podcasts. Let's get as many people over here as possible. We're trying to build this thing up.
You guys will be early on the hype train when this thing gets big, and you'll be the original. So
we love you guys, and we'll see you next week.